In the 18th century, Louis XV was the primary monarch who reigned actually for a very long period of time. And his main artist was François Boucher. There are several excellent examples in the exhibition of drawings by Boucher. He's one of the great names of the 18th century. This one dates from near the end of his career, about 1765, when he achieved his greatest ambition, which was to be named first painter to the king. That was the ultimate goal of any painter of the period. This drawing was probably made by Boucher to thank the king for this honor. It's a sketch for a ceiling that was actually never completed, but this is the god Apollo, and very frequently in French art, the king and certain gods of antiquity are equated, and here this would be, Apollo would stand for Louis XV, who in this case is bringing the dawn to the world, and for Louis XV it would be bringing enlightenment to the world. Many of the drawings of the 18th century actually look like paintings. They're very highly finished, they are drawn with full color, and people look at them and think, well, that's really a painting, it's not a drawing. But in fact, the media are drawing media. I mean, pastels are full color. A drawing like this by Baudouin, Pierre-Antoine Baudouin, is drawn with gouache, with a brush and gouache, actually on skin, animal skin, vellum, not drawings. But this is intended to be a miniature painting. It goes back to that medieval tradition again of medieval book illumination. But in this case, it's intended to serve as a finished work that would be hung and framed on someone's wall. In fact, it was exhibited in the 18th century, in Baudouin's own lifetime, at the annual Academy's Salon of Painting. Landscapism is a very important part of the art of the 18th century, especially in the second half. But figures, of course, are what bring us closest to the people of the 18th century. What they were doing, what they were thinking, how they were acting. The drawing next to me now by François-André Vincent, not one of the great well-known names of the 18th century, is for me the one drawing, not just in this exhibition, but actually the one drawing I know from the French 18th century that captures very perfectly, in my view, the grace, the elegance, the gallantry of the 18th century, or that we associate with the 18th century, rightly or wrongly. And it's a wonderfully rich drawing, and it is just an elegant and beautiful example of the 18th century all in one beautiful work. The exhibition ends with a style called neoclassicism that springs up in the second half of the 18th century during the reign of Louis XVI, and then of course during the Revolution, which pretty much ends the century. Neoclassicism is a reaction to the French Rococo, the art of Boucher, the art that flourished under Louis XV, and it's a return not just to classical principles of Louis XIV's reign, but also to classical principles from antiquity. And it was very important at that time to associate the political revolution with the ideals of antiquity. The simple curves, the straight lines, and repeating them again and again. Etienne Boulet, who made this wonderful design for a metropolitan church, it captures in one really brilliant form this new move toward an art that is grand, it is greater than the people, it is different from a royal art celebrating one king. It's here celebrating the French nation and bringing it together in what would be a pretty gigantic space. When we bought this drawing, it was the 50th anniversary of the gallery, but it was such a perfect correlation for Washington. When you think that this is 1780 or thereabouts, and we're just in our revolution, we were just at the time finishing up our own revolution. This is the art that's in vogue at the beginning of our country. And if you look around Washington, you see this kind of architecture in many, many places, but most notably in our metro system, where you have these coffered ceilings and great arches and whatever. For Washington, this was a perfect acquisition, I will say.